Joining me this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well. And before we get going, I just wanted, Greg Warren called me about 11 o'clock last night and told me to tell you hello.
Oh, good. Yes, I talk to Greg all the time.
And he says you don't pronounce quarter the right way.
Every conversation he'll trick me because he calls it my North County accent that I say quarter. It's like water, quarter.
Nothing wrong with that.
It really, really makes him laugh. So if it brings him that much joy, I'll do it anytime he wants.
Let's start with your St. Louis connection, Kathleen, and with the usual question of which high school did you go to?
Well, I went 2 years down at the lake, School of the Osage. I was an Osage Indian. And then 2 years back up in St. Louis at McClure North. I was a McClure North Star. So now all St. Louis people can make their judgments based off that.
That's right, because that's what we do. We don't like to get to know people. We simply want to do it through the high school connection.
Just give me your resume so I can judge your socio-economical class and the rest of your behavior based on that.
Now, your parents still live here, is that correct?
Yeah, well, they're down at the Lake of the Ozarks and then Florida, too, and that when it gets really bad, the weather gets really bad, they toddle on down with the rest of the train of elderly Midwest people that head to the, what as they call it, our side, the Gulf side of Florida.
That's right. Your parents are a big part of the act that you do.
Yeah, that's why you got to keep them healthy. That's why I bought him a condo in Florida. You get down there and stay healthy.
That's right.
You're my next hour.
I want to play a short clip from one of your recent specials, and it's about your dad. We'll go to the clip.
I got a big shakedown with my dad about it. He's old school Irish Catholic Democrat, but not a Clinton fan, especially of hers. And he goes, "Why would you possibly even think about supporting that woman?" I don't know, Dad. I think she has more experience than Obama. Based on what? I don't know, Dad. She lived in the White House for 8 years. Well, your mother's lived in this house for 40. Do you think she's a attorney? Okay, funny pants. And he never tires of his own sense of humor. 3 weeks after that, I had to hire a plumber. Maybe his wife will come over and fix your I'm sure she's ridden in the van and seen the equipment. Seems to be enough for you.
Radio and watching on TV.
Very, very funny stuff, Kathleen. What do your parents think about you using them in the act like that?
Oh, they're fine with it. Although I do have a thing about my mom's, the pills she carries in her purse. She calls it the All-Star bottle. And then I did a show in Florida that they were at, and then other old people were asking her for some of her pills. So, occasionally, but here's what's crazy. She did have them with her. And I said, "Mom, you can't come to my shows and be a drug dealer, okay?" This is not where you're going to unload a new shipment of blood pressure medication.
Now you're a prolific Twitterer. You tweet all the time. I'm a follower. I love your tweets, and you're not afraid to say what's on your mind, especially as it relates to St. Louis or the St. Louis Cardinals.
Or the Rams. Oh my God, I won't shut up about it. I'm never going to shut up about it. Somebody said, "Oh, now that the Rams moved, are you still going to root for them because they were your Rams?" No, I'm not. No, I wish them the worst record in the history of professional football. I hope the owner gets hurt. I hope Stan Kroenke falls out of an owner's box onto the field and becomes a paraplegic in front of the entire nation. I mean, what a piece of garbage that guy is. And I've just taken nothing but joy in watching them lose. I watched them lose yesterday to Atlanta. Watched the whole game. I just can't get enough of it. I just think to say, we're going to take this team out of St. Louis because I'm not making enough money. When you're married to a Walmart, I mean, his wife is a Walmart. You have all the money, sir. There's no, unless you kill her siblings, there's no more money on earth. Well, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates.
That's right.
It's just the NFL greed, and I feel like St. Louis, we're the only city that lost a team twice. And then the next day on sports radio, especially in St. Louis, every guy is calling, "Oh, how are we going to get another team? How are we going to get another team?" And I said, you know what? If you've been married and divorced twice, maybe for a year, just get a cat. I'm just saying, maybe sit with yourselves maybe we need to sit with ourselves and decide what we really want to do.
That's right. Find yourself for a while. Spend a little me time, or a little you time, right?
It's exactly right. But yes, I will, and it's very difficult to tweet about sports because that does get the most reaction, good and bad. I mean, sports people, I have learned my lesson the hard way. You better be really confident in what you're saying because they will go crazy.
Well,
completely crazy, more than politics,
absolutely.
more than anything. It's definitely an opinionated group.
During the World Series, you and John Hamm flew your St. Louis Cardinals flags very high and prominently. Did you take a lot of grief from
I did not have the time like John Hamm to fly to Chicago and troll them with one of my Cardinals hats, but I was glad that he did. And I was rooting for the Cubs, but like one of my brothers goes, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I said, well, I understand it. It's kind of like your younger sibling beating you at something. You know you're supposed to be happy for them.
That's right.
But secretly you still want to punch them in the face. Like,
deep down, in those places you don't want to talk about.
Yeah, but I was happy for the Cubs, and they have a fun fan group, and even their celebrities are, who's going to get mad at Bob Newhart or Bonnie Hunt or Bill Murray? Like they're kind of cool. There's nobody where I go, oh, God. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I kind of went, oh, wow, look at Bob Newhart. He's 87 and he wants a win. Come on. It makes you kind of happy to root for him. So, and finally, that whole thing's off everybody's back. So now we don't have to worry about the sad Cubs.
Well,
you got your win.
Yeah.
Now we can all play normal baseball again without this giant story that's looming every single year. And I'm sure they feel the same way.
Well, and how many jokes have now been taken off the table because of the 108 or whatever it was year gap in World Series victories? Some of the material's gone.
All the jokes that had been said and then said 150 times. So it's kind of good that topic, it was getting a little hacky.
That's it.
Let's just say a little hacky.
Well,
Take it off the table.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Let's talk about you for a little bit. You've been doing comedy for 30 years. You have a new special out, Bothering Jesus. It's on Netflix. Is that right?
Yeah, Netflix.
Why Netflix? I mean, just people.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, I will not bore you with the whole business end of it, but here's the greatest thing. It's on all the time. And even old people can understand Netflix. And I do have a lot of fans.
My mother understands
old, and then
Netflix.
I have some that are young.
Yeah.
But the young people will do Netflix too. Like they like it. It's not like Facebook's kind of getting into the grandma and grandpa world now, and the kids are shying away and they're Snapchatting secrets at each other. But Netflix, everybody seems to be on board with it. And like all those other specials I had on Showtime and HBO, what was frustrating is you'd get so excited and you'd work so hard on something, and they would tell you when the premiere was, but then they would never tell you again. Like, I'd say, how many times will you air it? We don't know. Well, when would you air it if you were going to re-air it? We don't know. Well, will you tell me if you know? No. I'm like, okay, this is a great relationship. This is really working out. So now if somebody says, oh, I would love to see your comedy, I can say, well, just go to Netflix. There's 2 specials that are streaming and 2 old ones that they still do the DVD thing in the mail if you want to do that. But it's a 24-hour library, and it's just wonderful for people to have the access, because before you would have had to specifically set the DVR or just randomly, like my mom would go, I was up at 3 a.m, I couldn't sleep, and you were on Showtime. You need to tell those people to pay you. Okay, well,
You get your mom looking out for you.
Yeah, exactly. You keep track, Bob. You sit there and watch all night. Now I'll know if they're cheating on me. It's just the access, and it's all millennials. But I shouldn't say all, but there's a lot of millennials that work at Netflix, which is really, they will not get on the phone, but I'm okay with that. They don't want human interaction, which is kind of weird for my generation, where I'm like, hey, why doesn't somebody call me and we could just do this faster? Oh, my God, we don't like to use the phone. Okay, right. Grandma, if you could just send us a text with whatever it is you want, we'll do it. Okay.
That is so true. And in the filmmaking or the TV world, there's this building, this palace that is Netflix, and people say, "Well, how do you get something on Netflix?" I don't know. I don't know how to reach them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, they have buyer people, but even those are like secret wizards.
Right.
And then, like, my agent, I made that show, the one that's on there, and then I sold it to them. But you have to figure out who's buying stuff. And then that's the part I don't get involved in.
Right.
I just tell my agents, call over there. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds official. Yeah. I go, will someone please call over there? And, like, at Showtime, you would know who to call.
Right.
There's a number online somewhere, I'm sure, that says acquisitions. But Netflix, who I don't know. I still don't know who bought it. I've never met anybody. There's never a party. Like, they're very, very millennial-y. They want to keep their distance. They are not into human relationships. Right. Thank you, but no thank you.
Earlier in the show, and I met you through a taping of an interview on Bob Zaney's documentary, Close But No Cigar. And
oh, yeah.
That's when I first met you, and Bob was on the show earlier, and I always call Bob one of the hardest working men in show business because he's out there. But I don't think he comes close to you. You are constantly touring.
Constantly is right. I'm actually finished up this weekend. I have no more shows till the end of January, and like I have a whole week off. I don't know that the last time I've done it where there's not media for the next gig or whatever. It's just off. So it's wonderful. I like travel. I like touring though. I don't know. I think you're either cut out for the road or you're not. There's very little in between. You either enjoy it or you hate it. Because it is extreme. It's extreme. So the reaction is going to be extreme. I just happen to really like it.
A couple of years back, I
haven't had a problem. I get crabby by the end after like the 250th show. I can tell I need to take a day off when I just get irritated with, stupid stuff. The lady at check-in doesn't have, my reservation or whatever, where normally I would be a little calmer.
Right. And it's not all.
I don't have a room. Like, that's unnecessary. Kathleen, it's really unnecessary.
Yeah. It's not all as glamorous either. It's not nearly as glamorous as people. It's not nearly as glamorous as people think. The life on the road.
No, I was shooting a Periscope video from backstage in Indianapolis Friday night. There's just like wires hanging out, and then there's a dog that walked by. I don't even know whose dog that was backstage. And backstage is like, there's like 100 different rooms, and there's some Christian rock band, and a different venue was in the venue. And I'm like, oh, the glamour. I don't even know whose dog that is.
You have
it looks like some sort of Australian Shepherd mutt, but he's adorable.
Yeah. You've kind of shied away.
I think it's glamorous if you're, Fleetwood Mac and you're in private jets and flying around. But comedy has never been as cool as music. It never will be. It's just not like the rock star life. I think probably is true on a lot of levels. But the comedy life, we might as well be selling things. I've always said to Greg Warren, I should think of something to sell in the day. We're here in these cities.
Amway or something, yeah.
Yeah, right. Just keep peddling it around, yeah.
Well, on that point, you have somewhat shied away from this idea that comedy is just a stepping stone to a sitcom or to a movie. You like comedy.
Yeah, here's what I think happened. At least in the modern era. I don't know about way back. But in the 70s, like, people were comedians. Like, Richard Pryor was just a comedian. And then they might put you in a movie kind of as yourself. Like, Joan Rivers was in some movies as herself, or Phyllis Diller. But for the most part, they were touring comedians. Then the 80s came along, and then they started with the sitcoms. Every stand-up got a sitcom or a talk show. So then it kind of became like, oh, if I want to get a sitcom, I need to be a stand-up. And it's kind of going away, though. So it was a big deal in the 80s and 90s, and that's when, you could go through them all. Drew Carey, Ray Romano, Brett Butler, Kevin James. It just goes on and on and on. almost everybody got a shot at one, and then some did well and some didn't. And then I think we're kind of over that now. So we're back to, but I never wanted to do any of it anyway. I mean, I went, Louis Black is one of my best friends, and I went to a taping. He was doing just a scene, one scene on The Big Bang Theory. This is maybe, I don't know, not that long ago, within the last 5 years. We were there from 4 in the afternoon. He was like, go with me. I'm bored. I don't have anybody to go with. I thought, all right, I'll go. Why not? And me and his, one of the people that works for him, Shannon, we were there from 4 till 11. Shannon and I drank a bottle of wine. We went through lines. I took a nap. We went and ate dinner with him in the commissary. I mean, all this for 3 minutes? He was on TV for no more than 5 minutes, not even exaggerating. Yep. And I go, okay, no, I don't, no, there's not enough payoff here. We've been here 7 hours. Like, has everyone lost their minds? Well, like, Lou likes to act. Like, he really enjoys it. Okay, well, you know, as Rocky LaPorte would say, go for you. But I'm literally not interested.
Well, and that's good for people that are fans of your comedy. Kathleen, we got to wrap it up here. I thank you so much. Your special, Bothering Jesus, as well as other specials, streaming on Netflix. People should, at whatever hour they want, log on to Netflix and find your specials. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're all there. You can, if you're old school, they will mail you my old ones. And if you're new school, you can just hit play, and they will be streaming on your phone or in your family room within 2 seconds.
Thank you so much. Kathleen Madigan, comedian from St. Louis. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Have a good Christmas.
Thank you. 927 KTRS, the Big 550.
This is McGraw.